Hello, everyone. Welcome to Aging and Spirituality, the podcast where we explore what it means to live, love, and awaken fully, no matter what your age. I'm Chris Jensen.
I'm Cathy Lee Taylor. Woohoo! I like that intro. I'm excited.
And we are so happy you're here with us. So I want to start out saying, do you get irritated when someone says you're too old to do something you'd like to do or you know you can do?
Hell yeah.
Hell yes. I mean, that's what inspired this podcast for me.
Somebody got in your grill.
Yeah, they get in. I mean, I don't know what they expect. They expect us to be decrepit or something. It's just amazing.
Yeah.
And so I thought I want to share some stuff. I mean, whether we know it or not, we are all impacted by ageism.
Yes.
I mean, people creating and imposing their stereotypes on us. And it could be external impact in a job you're passed over for somebody younger, even though they don't say that. Or it could be an internal impact in which you change your expectations of yourself. And that's even more detrimental. And that's a lot more we're going to talk about. And I believe, and my experience is, we don't have to accept these limitations.
Mhm.
So stay tuned. I'm going to share some positive actions we can take to not be limited, by ageism.
I love that.
And Cathy and I have been dealing with this for a long time because we're yogis and we look and feel many years younger than people expect us to look and feel. So it's really irritating when they do it.
Yes, it is.
So first thing is recognize ageism when it happens. Be aware of subtle and overt signs, such as assumptions that you're too old or too young for certain roles or responsibilities. Very young people have to deal with this too.
They sure do.
Grandson, who's going to be 3, keeps telling me that, it's really a challenge because people keep telling him he's too young to do things.
Does he get annoyed? That's so cute.
Yeah, yeah, he thinks he's a grown-up.
Yeah.
Patronizing comments, being talked down to. Someone asked my daughter when I was when she was pregnant and I was working on her shower. Someone asked if I knew how to text.
If you knew how to what?
Text.
Are you sure?
No. I,
It was one of her lawyer friends looked
no,
at.
no, no. This was an old high school friend of hers, and I thought,
Oh my gosh. Okay. What?
I know. I said to Thea, I said, really? And she said, well, she said, maybe her mother doesn't know how to text. I don't know.
I get you just should have turned her and said, "Do I look like I've been living under a rock or what?"
Yeah.
That's funny.
Being passed over for promotions and opportunities. That happens all the time.
All the
That's
time.
why people don't ever want to let people know how old they are, which is ridiculous. And then stereotyping. Older people are slow. They don't have energy. And that's not true. It's
Yeah.
just not true. And what happens is, the reason my first point is to recognize it is because we will internalize it. If we don't recognize it for what it is, we can internalize it.
Well, wait a minute. When you say internalize it, you mean believe it?
Believe it.
Act like it's true?
Act like it's you. Believe it.
Yeah.
You start believing
Okay.
it, like it's a fact,
Yeah,
instead of somebody's prejudice, just like
right.
any other prejudice.
For sure.
So respond strategically, depending on the context. There's some approaches. You can challenge assumptions by saying, actually, I'm confident I can handle this. Just matter of fact. Or can you help me understand why I'm being excluded from this project?
Yeah, that sounds like me.
Yeah, yeah. Can you help me understand that? Why am I being excluded?
Yeah. No, I wouldn't be that nice.
And yeah, if you're in a workplace, keep records of it, discrimination, keep a record of it. And that'll help. And demonstrate your value, break stereotypes by showcasing your skills, adaptability, and knowledge. Now, here's the funny thing. So I watch my grandson 2 days a week. And here's a stereotype breaking. So at the beginning, when I was first watching it, my daughter's friends were saying, "Oh, this must be a lot for you," blah blah blah, and all this kind of stuff. And so my daughter said, she said, I said to my husband Tim, the only person that has enough energy and can handle Bo all day
My mom.
and into the evening is my mom. He wears us out. She said, my friends who are in their, friends who are in their 40s, they,
Yep.
they can't do it. And I thought, good,
Yeah.
that's good. So we're breaking a stereotype here, and that's important, you know. Uh, you can do that with anything because we all are very capable at no matter what our age. Very
For
capable.
sure.
I have a mother-in-law who's going to be 99 in July. She still
Yeah,
keeps her books. She was a bookkeeper and for
that's the trip.
my father-in-law's business. She still keeps her books and they are meticulous. And I think that's why her mind is so good.
Her mind still works.
Yeah,
100%.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's amazing. So you can demonstrate your value in that way. Keep learning and stay up to date with trends. That's important in whatever area you're in or interested in. Like Cathy and I have worked in marketing for years, so we stay up to date on what's going on there. And
Ugh, yep.
and our,
AI going down the rabbit hole.
you know,
I have to admit, I'm going down the AI rabbit hole. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
no, that's part of it. And in our yoga practice, of course, we're always learning,
Yep.
always self-study is always happening. I think that's probably the biggest thing that I do that really demonstrates a lot of growth.
Well, and what's important about that is that you are open to that learning, keeps you open to the universe of the energy as well. You are connected to that source, which is why you can go like an Energizer bunny all day long, where other people are dropping like flies. You're you're connected to that flow. That's the truth.
Yeah. And learning new things is very important for the mind.
Sure, to
I
stay up.
had a friend who now has dementia. And I remember she once said to me, and this is before her dementia, and she didn't like to learn new things. And she said, "Oh, why don't you do that? Because you like to learn new things, like it was a bad thing."
Oh wow. I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah, yeah. Learning new things is important.
I don't think I've ever met anybody that admitted that to me, that they did not like to learn new
Yeah,
things.
yeah, I
Because
know.
I would be gobsmacked. I'd be like, what? What are you talking about?
I know that's for me, that's the most exciting thing is learning new things.
Yeah, I guess that's who we are.
And highlight your strengths, take initiative, you know, and cross over generations, reach out to younger people
Mhm.
and support, make sure you have a network of people who value people of all ages. This is a place where people, as they get older, they tend to pull away. But the more you can be with people who value, your experience, your knowledge, who you are, the better it is. And like organizations that advocate for age equality, like AARP or Aging Better, those, you know, I look at the AARP newsletter all the time because there's good stuff in there and it's
Mhm.
helpful.
Mhm.
And if you're in a workplace and you are experiencing ageism, go talk to the HR people. Keep documents and know your rights. And this
For
is this
sure.
is for workplace stuff, know your rights. Uh, and in many states, particularly where we live in California, there are a lot of laws to help you. And so check that out. But here's the bigger thing, and the thing I wanted to really focus on, and that's to challenge internalized ageism. It's one of the most detrimental impacts. Sometimes we absorb ageist beliefs about ourselves without even realizing it. Reject the idea that you're too old. Reframe aging as a source of strength and growth. Look at all the stuff we know. I mean, like we talk about how all these years we've done yoga, It's a real different thing than somebody who's done it for 2 months or 2 years.
Mhm.
Really different. Mm. Surround yourself with communities, media, things you read that value age diversity. Keep the positive thinking about it going. And be aware of your own personal biases, because we do that. Assumptions and stereotypes about aging, and actively work to counteract them. Maybe you have those beliefs yourself.
Yeah. How do you know? Like, that's what I'm thinking as you're talking. I'm asking myself, how do I know if I have let some of those ageism judgments like creep in and I didn't even question them? Just
Right.
assumed, okay, I'm older. I guess that's part of what's happening here, Like I need to set up a system where I red flag those things.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's I think you put your finger on it right there. Like anytime you feel like or sense that, oh, this is happening because I'm older,
Hmm.
question it.
Hmm.
Question it right there.
Yeah.
Question it. Because we do. It's just like any other stereotype. We don't, or prejudice. We don't think we have them, but then all of a sudden something blurps out, and you see that there's something there.
So if I'm thinking, oh no, you didn't just say that.
Yeah,
That's probably a clue right there.
right. There's a big food right there. Yeah. Yeah. And it's really good to really be open to that,
Yeah.
uh, and yeah, and I don't even like to think of age as a number.
No, you never do. You're the one person in my life that has been really true to that and knows how to live that.
Yeah.
Most
Well,
people say that, but they don't know how to live it.
I heard it early on when I went to yoga.
Yeah.
Yoga master at the center, he said, yogis don't like to think of a number with age because they limit themselves then.
Heck yeah.
And other
And
people
he,
limit you.
and he walks in the room and you would think he's 50 years old. You
Yeah,
just have no idea how old this man is because he does not relate to numbers at all.
right.
And you definitely got that from him because it shows in how you present yourself and operate and all of that.
Yeah, I think it's really important. And it's also good to spend time with people of different ages and backgrounds.
Hmm.
That helps to break down stereotypes in yourself and in others, you know.
Yeah.
And uh, it's nice to be around young people. It's nice to be around older people.
It's what community is all about. The old people get to see the young people coming up in the ranks and appreciate it and love them and turn that around. The young people can appreciate their elders. That's what it's supposed to be all about.
It is, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. When I take my little grandson to the park, there are younger people there with kids, but there's also grandmas there with kids. And this one uh, other woman who was a grandma, uh, she recognized, she says, "Oh, I can tell." She says, "We were talking about something," and she says, "Yeah, we're old hippies, so that's why we think like that." And I kind of recognized her like that.
You were like wearing a flower shirt or something, were you?
No,
Oh,
no, no, no,
geez.
no. But it's just
Yeah,
a free way of, you know,
sure.
relating, because she was as vibrant as could be. So,
Yeah.
um, watch your language, okay? Avoid using ageist language when talking about
Like what?
age.
Like what's a subtle ageist language thing?
Uh, well, if I were younger, I could.
Oh, okay.
You I hear this from a lot of our friends, our yoga friends. They talk,
Hmm.
well, now that I'm getting older, I can't do this or I can't do that. And
Oh, yeah, that's true. I do hear that a lot too.
yeah, so you got to watch that, because what you say, you bring into your life's experience. I mean, really, it's really true. You don't have to believe me about that. Just work on it.
Let's do it. That's a good one to apply to health problems when you're having health
Mm.
concerns. Don't let it make you feel older, like, oh, this is
Yeah,
normal. You're just getting older. You're gonna have to deal with these things with the body.
yeah,
No, you
yeah,
don't have to. You
yeah,
can be healthy. Just
yeah,
turn that around.
yeah, yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. You can turn anything around. So, Be confident, be self-assured, embrace your age and experience, and don't let age's comments diminish your self-worth.
Mhm.
Like the minute somebody who's over 60 misplaces their keys, they start to, oh my God, is my mind slipping? Well, I used to misplace my keys when I was 20, I
No
didn't pay
different
attention. Yeah, I didn't pay attention.
now. Yeah.
In fact, my daughter remembers when she was little, like when she used to pretend cooking, she'd pretend to cook and then she'd go, oops, it's burning. Because that's what she'd see me doing. Oops, it's burning. Because I'd be, doing something else.
That's a funny admission.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh. Well, that's what they make air tags for. So
that's
there's
right.
that.
So, well, but I think something that Cathy and I would like to share a little bit is how to maintain your sense of who you really are. Yoga says we're much more than just a body, a mind, and a personality.
Yeah.
And within each of us is an inner self, a place that's filled with peace and joy and love. And one of the ideas in yoga is to not only experience that peace, but not only experience that peace and joy, but to let it, like when stressful events happen, like when someone says that something ageist comment that tweaks you, stay in that place.
Yeah.
It's not easy because I find myself, I'll get tweaked and then I'll step back and recenter but so I wanted to just share one thing that it's pretty, I think everybody can do this. It's just you lie down on the floor, feet about 12 to 15 inches apart, arms at your sides, palms up, and you start at your feet. Start with your toes and one foot and try to relax your body,
Part by part.
methodically, all the way up, all the body parts. And then when you feel like you're completely relaxed, you just try to sense an expansion, just you just start try to sense that, my body's completely relaxed. This leaves my consciousness free to expand. And it just expands and expands and expands to the galaxies. And if you do that, if you just work on relaxing your body like that and letting that expansion happen, do it. If you can do it for 10 minutes, it'd be ideal, or 5 minutes. We can actually point you to someone talking through relaxing each of the body parts. I didn't want to do it here because I thought that might take a little time but we can point you to that and you'll be amazed at how it gives you a sense of that harmony and centeredness. So when someone makes one of those comments to you, you can just stay in this wonderful place and not,
Yeah.
you know.
Being in Savasana, that's so important. And you know what? It reminds me of an experience I actually had this week because I was doing this Qigong class. And the woman was so beautiful and literally just, how do I say, just embodied that idea of the energy. And when she moved, it was just like you could feel the energy in her hands and in her body. And you didn't dare like go faster than her, and you're like watching her on the video and I'm trying to do what she was doing and I just felt it like moving through my body, just so relaxing, but in a way that all of a sudden my back didn't hurt anymore and I wasn't thinking about all the things that were going on in my body. It was attached to this energy
Mhm.
and this energy was just like carrying me like it was my own and I just left all the chinks in the armor behind me. Like it's
Yeah,
like that.
yeah,
That's the same
it's
thing when you're in
awesome.
Savasana. You just let go of all that physicality stuff that's bugging you. And I've actually been walking better and
See?
when I think about the stress comes over me, I think about, the dragon thing that she was showing us how to do in a certain situation. And I was thinking, yep, that's the same thing that you talk about with yoga. You
Mhm.
just stay in the flow and the joy and don't let anything or anybody outside take you out of it.
Right. That's it. That's our point. That's our point.
You're welcome. There's our point. You're so
So
right.
I hope this is helpful to you. I
It
know
is,
it
yeah.
It can be, if you are open to it. This, some positive actions can overcome any negativity that's around you.
Absolutely. Yeah,
So,
I'll get some of those Savasana links from the YouTube channel and put them in there. If people
yeah,
want to try practicing that, or some of your pranayama classes too. We'll stick them in the show notes for you.
yeah, please do check it out. And please do check out our YouTube channel and subscribe, like us, give us comments. We want to hear from you. We want to know
Yeah.
what you like, what you don't like, and if this is helpful.
Yeah.
And, you may have questions about it, and we'll answer them.
Yeah, please do. Use the resources,
Yes.
We're here, we're wise. Come on.
Yeah. We want to help.
Ask questions. I
And we
love
are definitely not ageists.
it.
Thanks all, everybody, for coming.
Bye.
Bye.